the fruit of the tree of life, the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and the 12 tribes sealed. The New Testament states that if you add to or take away from the book of Revelation, you will not enter heaven, and will be cursed. Disaster. Revelation 22:18-19. Doctors of theology and pastors, haven't you added to or taken away from the book of Revelation? Despite adding or taking away from it, you called Shincheonji, who is well versed in the book of Revelation, a heretic, just as the Jerusalem shepherds did to Jesus at his first coming. Therefore, Shincheonji proposed holding a public Bible test to determine who is orthodox and who is heretical, but not a single person has responded. Doctors of theology and pastors, doesn't this make sense? The goal of the faith of pastors and doctors of theology seems to be money and power, not heaven and salvation. Today, people in the world unanimously say that doctors of theology and pastors are not believers, but money-making businessmen. In Revelation 7 and 14, the sealed 12 tribes and 144,000 are mentioned, and God's throne, as seen in Revelation 4, is located there. So, where on earth are these sealed 12 tribes and God's throne located? It's none other than the 12 tribes of Shincheonji. Are doctors of theology and pastors registered with the 12 tribes, where God's throne is located? Protestants and Catholics, who are not sealed, have called Shincheonji, which is sealed, a heretic. If the judgment of Revelation 18 began today, like in Noah's time, how many would survive? Of course, theologians and pastors believe Protestants who haven't received the seal will be saved, while Shincheonji, who received the seal, will be punished. Is that really so? While you can enjoy the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, Revelation 1:7-18, have you ever eaten from the tree of life? And have you ever seen the tree of life, which bears 12 kinds of fruit each month? Pastors call themselves Orthodox, but Matthew 8:11-12 says that the original descendants of the nation are being driven out and weeping, while those from the east and the west will sit in heaven. Pastors and doctors of theology will likely think that their positions, as the original descendants of the nation, are high enough to avoid being driven out. They will also think that Shincheonji, which claims to have been created according to the book of Revelation, is a cult and will be punished, while Protestants, who do not believe in the book of Revelation, and instead adhere to the doctrines of traditional churches, will not be punished and will enter heaven. Is this true? During a sermon, I asked the pastors, "What tribe are you from?" But they couldn't answer. They must be speechless. There's a Japanese proverb that says, "A fool cannot be cured unless he dies." Pastors, haven't you added to or subtracted from the book of Revelation? Pastors have called Shincheonji, despite their mastery of the New Testament's book of Revelation, a cult. What rank is Protestantism? Is the congregation's faith flawed because of the pastors or because of Shincheonji? Shincheonji's name and organization were created according to the design laid out in the New Testament's book of Revelation. Shincheonji was born of God's seed, harvested, sealed, created as the 144,000 of the 12 tribes, and is growing rapidly, bearing 12 fruits every month. Is this correct? Shincheonji is not a place where just anyone can enter. One must be born of God's seed, harvested, sealed, and belong to the 12 tribes. When the book of Revelation is fulfilled, the first heaven and the first earth will disappear, and a new heaven and a new earth will be created, where the kingdom of heaven and God will come. The new heaven and new earth is where the 144,000 from the 12 tribes, who received the seal, were created, and this is Shincheonji Church of Jesus. In this place, as stated in Revelation 22, there is the tree of life, which bears 12 kinds of fruit each month, and its leaves heal the nations. Amen.